Hello and welcome to the virtual day talk about physical education. Presenters today are Sandra Rowland, myself, and we have
Gavin Shepherd. Good morning. Okay, so to start off with, we'll discuss why you should see physical education as an excellent subject to study. First and foremost, physical education is a highly regarded A-level amongst universities. Gone are the days of people thinking that it's not an academic subject. It's a highly academic A-level to study, and all universities accept it willingly and know that it is a very academic subject. It really is an excellent grounding in the knowledge required for sport and exercise science courses, alongside so many other higher education opportunities, which we'll detail a bit further in the presentation. Lessons and activities are very varied according to what component of the course we're studying. There are 6 contrasting components, which again we will go through each in turn on some of the slides to follow. It's also a really good subject for students who like a combination of coursework and examination based, and again we'll go through the breakdown of this later on in the presentation.
So why choose physical education? As it's got on the slide, our class sizes are approximately 15 students. You are taught by PE specialist PE teachers who only teach level 3, and also in the classroom we do try to have a different style of teaching with different teaching methods, different learning experiences. Some things might be individually, some things might be in small groups, but alongside that we also try and implement teaching in the sports hall through practical, so you are actually learning as you're actually doing the physical activities. Other thing that we offer is students have the opportunity to play in AOC college leagues, and we do that across a number of sports, for example basketball, netball, football and cricket. The department is very well equipped with facilities. We've got indoor facilities and we've also got the playing fields outside too.
Okay, this is the breakdown of the course and how it works. As you can see on the left hand side of the screen, there is a paper 1 which is broken down into 3 main topic areas which we study in year 12. So this is the applied anatomy and physiology, so it's the bones, muscles, joints, heart, respiratory system, etc. Skill acquisition, so how we learn skill, theories of learning, how we control our motor skills when we carry out sporting activities, and then there's sport in society, which is more the historical side of sport, so how some sports have developed over time, and also the sociological aspects of sport, things such as socialisation of sport, barriers to break down in sport, etc. So in paper 2, which will be the areas and topic areas you'll study in year 13, we go on to looking at exercise physiology and the biomechanics, so things such as Newton's laws, fluid mechanics, training methods, etc. Sports psychology, such as individual aspects like personality, motivation, attitudes, and then team aspects as well, like group cohesion, group dynamics, how teams function effectively. So these are all aspects to do with the mind and cognition and how the thought process impact on performance. And the last section again is on sport, society and technology, and we go into other areas such as violence, drugs, organisation of sport, etc. So both these papers are done at the end of the second year, in the second year in the summer. They're both 2-hour long, the papers, both worth 105 marks, and both worth 35% of the A-level. So the 2 papers combined are worth 70% of your overall qualification. Each paper is broken down into a number of style of questions. So we've got section A, section B and section C, which are your 3 areas, and each area will have multiple choice questions, short answer questions, could be 3, 4, 5 mark questions, and then you have extended writing, which involves an 8 mark question and a 15 mark question, and that is the same for each of the 3 areas on the paper. So 35 marks for each area, totaling 105 marks for the paper. So that is your 2 papers at the end of the second year. In addition to that, the remaining 30% of the course is the non-exam assessment. This is your practical performance alongside core written coursework. This is where you'll be assessed in one chosen activity, which will then also go alongside a written piece of coursework based on looking at your performance, strengths, weaknesses, and how you'd improve, and putting an action plan together. Again, this is marked overall out of 90, and this will form 30% your A level. So 15% for your chosen practical activity, and then 15% for the written coursework based on your practical activity. So to summarise in terms of the assessment, so 2 exams at the end of the second year worth 70% of your final grade. Each exam paper has 3 sections to it, 3 different topic areas I detailed briefly earlier. The coursework is 30% of your final grade. To say practical performance in one chosen sport. We will go through the examples of sports you can choose in a minute. What is absolute key is that you are playing this sport in a competitive environment. So you must be choosing an activity that you are doing on a regular basis. You are performing for a team or an individual in a competitive situation. Then the written analysis of performance, the coursework, is the remaining 15%.
Okay, so entry requirements to study A-level physical education. It's the standard college entry requirements. You need at least 2 grades at 6 or above, and a further 3 GCSE grades at 4 or above. Both have to have, you have to have grade 4 in both English and maths. Studying PE at GCSE, if you have, you need at least a grade 4. As Gavin just said, that you need to be performing well in one specific physical activity.
We can't stress this enough about the one physical activity. You've got to be a good, competent performer in your chosen sport and be playing regularly outside for a club in competitive environments. Okay, so that is a really important thing to remember when you're taking physical education as a choice.
So on this slide, it shows you all the activities that you can study through A-level PE. You may notice that it's not as wide variety as you have maybe at GCSE, so it's really important that you actually look and choose the sport that you are competing at a high level. Athletics, for example, if you're a triathlete, you won't be able to get assessed in that, so you would need to choose 2 specific disciplines in the athletics list, which you can find more detail on through AQA, A-level PE on the internet. I think that's it. Is there anything you want to say for now?
Yeah, each practical activity is assessed on your attacking skills and defensive skills and your tactical application of those. So there'll be a list of basic skills that we'll be looking and assessing on, and then more advanced aspects which you'll be looking to try and incorporate into your performance. You'll build up a bank of footage where you get a parent or a guardian or someone to film you over a period of time to build up this bank of evidence of you performing in a competitive environment. It's not a highlights reel. So it will be, for example, if you're playing football, it'll be a whole half of the game which will be videoed in its entirety. So you cannot just put together a video package of your highlights, it's whole halves of performance, for example. So again, we will detail this more to you at the start of the course, but be aware that it will be you building this footage up, which we'll use to assess your performance. Career pathways. Common question, what can you go into if you have physical education? Well, you can see from the screen there is an absolute myriad of careers and areas that you can go into now. The sports science field, physical education field is absolutely huge, and I'm not going to actually detail everything on the screen, but you can see there are, from the left hand side, the sport, exercise and science and technology areas. You've got your usual PE teachers, therapists. Physiotherapy is obviously a common one that a lot of our students go on to study, which they combine physical education with biology. Psychologists, nutritionists, biomechanists, strength and conditioning coaches, personal trainers, sports rehabilitation specialists. Absolutely huge amount of areas there. Sports journalism, sports engineering. Some people actually combine a sport to a combined honours degree where they study sport alongside another area like management, business or something like that. There's a lot of those types of degrees. So sport, business and leisure management as well. So you've got people who go on to become facilities managers, leisure centre managers and facility managers. Areas such as venue owners, become sporting entrepreneurs, setting up their own businesses. We've gone on, some successful students who have gone on to set up their own coaching businesses who are doing exceptionally well in the local area. So that's, something they've gone on to do. Sports development, leadership and coaching, obviously. A lot of people go on to become coaches in whatever sport they specialise in. Someone I taught a couple of years ago is a performance analyst, is a big career now. He has gone on now to become the performance analyst, one of those people you see with a computer at a game analysing all the performance. He is now the performance analyst at Worcestershire County Cricket Club. So he has only left the college 2 or 3 years ago. He did his degree, 3 years ago, he did his degree. He then got a placement at Warwickshire County Cricket Club, his work experience, and now he's got a full-time job at Worcestershire County Cricket Club as their performance analysis. So it just goes to show the sort of careers you can go into. Outdoor education is another area that some people are very passionate about and go into, delivering programs and have a career in the outdoor education field. And obviously fitness instructors, again, is another popular career where people go into becoming a fitness instructor, set up their own business or work at a gym, or become a strengthening and conditioning coach at a professional sports club where they work their athletes. Every club now has their own strength and conditioning coach. Every club has their own analyst. Every club has their own sports psychologist. Every club has their own therapists and physios. So you can see there is a huge area to go into, an opportunity to go into, which weren't around 10, 15 years ago. It is now a huge field that you can access and have a fantastic career in. Performance and excellence, the bottom right hand corner. We've got such things as sports journalists or sports broadcasting. Again, is something that you may have not have thought of, and you may have thought that there's not a career in that. There is. And again, exciting areas to go into. So huge amount of different degrees to go into, huge amount of careers and progression to go into, which you can lead and develop your passion, which you have picked up in A-level physical education, gone on to do your degree and specialised maybe in a particular area of the field, which will then lead directly into a career. You can do a specialist sports psychology degree, you can do a specialist sports nutrition degree, you can do a specialist sports analyst degree, a sports coaching, a general sports and exercise science degree. So there is a huge amount of opportunities to go into. An example of a case study of a student who studied here in recent years was a young lady called Sophie Bagley. She came to the college from outside the area to actually study because she was doing it alongside her studies. She played for Birmingham City ladies football team and represented England. So she was a highly motivated and a highly successful student who came here to live in the Birmingham area to play for Birmingham City, and then was highly motivated and driven to achieve success in her subjects of physical education, biology, chemistry and mathematics. She got all A's and A stars and progressed on to the University of Birmingham to study physiotherapy. So she was an example of someone who juggled being an elite sports person alongside her studies. She was very organised. She worked superbly independently, and that's the kind of learner we want to try and encourage at the college, is someone who can work independently, think for themselves, and be highly motivated and highly organised. She said there, you see from a quote, she absolutely thoroughly enjoyed all the A-levels she studied and the individualised approach to studying. She thought the teachers gave her lots of support and were a huge influence on her to enable her to balance her busy lifestyle of football and studying. And we were there every step of the way. So she was a pleasure to teach, and just shows you how successful you can be, not just in your studies, but if you're an elite sports performer, we are able to support you in your time here to make a success in both aspects.
So the next slide shows you how to apply to study at the college. There's a link that's solihullsfc.ac.uk, applying step by step. Once you go into there, you'll be directed onto our portal called Tiber, where you need to create an account, and all in correspondence information actually goes through Tiber account. You'll get an email sent to you to confirm receipt of your application within 2 weeks of sending your application, and we will contact your school for a reference. If your application indicates that you meet our entry requirements, you'll be invited into college for an interview, and hopefully an offer will be made for you to study A-level PE alongside the other 3 areas that you might be thinking about doing at the college.